Deep beneath the golden sands of Luxor, archaeologists unearthed something that perhaps should have never been found. Over 1,000 decorated stone blocks, all belonging to a destroyed temple. But here's the mystery that baffled scientists. Why was this magnificent temple so brutally demolished? And who was powerful enough to deserve such destruction? Before we unveil these incredible secrets, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the ancient mysteries we're about to reveal. The name carved on those shattered stones was Hatshepsut. Today, she is recognized as one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, but for thousands of years, history almost forgot her completely. Someone went to extraordinary lengths to erase her from existence. But who would dare attack a pharaoh's legacy so viciously? Let's travel back in time, ancient seekers, to approximately 1479 before Christ, during Egypt's 18th dynasty. This was Egypt's golden age, a time of unprecedented power and prosperity. But something unprecedented was about to happen, something that would shake the very foundations of Egyptian tradition. Here's what will amaze you. Hatshepsut became one of only 4 women in Egyptian history to claim the title of pharaoh. Think about this incredible fact. The next woman wouldn't rule Egypt for another 1,500 years. And that woman? We know her as Cleopatra. Now, let's uncover how this remarkable woman seized power in a world dominated by men. Picture this scene with me. In ancient Egypt, just like most royal dynasties, men always came first in line for the throne. It was tradition. It was law. It was simply how things were done. So when Pharaoh Thutmose I had a daughter as his firstborn child, this created a major problem for the royal succession. A few years later, Thutmose I passed away and the crown went to Thutmose II, who ruled only briefly before leaving the throne to his infant son, Thutmose III. But here's where our story gets fascinating. Hatshepsut was this young pharaoh's stepmother. Initially, she served as regent and advisor for her stepson, who was far too young to rule alone. This was perfectly normal. This was expected. This was acceptable. But then, after 7 years, she did something absolutely unprecedented in Egyptian history. She made a move so bold, so audacious, that it shocked the entire kingdom. Hatshepsut declared herself Pharaoh of Egypt. This wasn't just a simple power grab, fellow explorers. Hatshepsut understood something crucial. If she wanted to rule, she had to present herself as legitimate. So she adopted a brilliant, calculated strategy that combined tradition with innovation. In an audacious move, she assumed the complete royal regalia, including the false beard traditionally worn by male pharaohs. She was often depicted in statues and hieroglyphics as a man, wearing the pharaoh's kilt and headdress. But pay attention to this incredible detail. This wasn't about hiding her identity. Modern experts believe she never actually tried to conceal who she was. The inscriptions on her statues often included feminine titles like Daughter of Ra, or grammatical structures that combined both masculine and feminine terms, such as His Majesty, herself. This demonstrated that while adopting traditional male symbols of power, she still acknowledged her true gender. But Hatshepsut needed to go even further to legitimize her rule. So she crafted an elaborate origin story that would cement her divine right to the throne. Are you ready for this? She claimed that the deity Amun himself had visited her mother, disguised as her father Thutmose I, and that she was his divine daughter. This wasn't a minor claim, ancient seekers. Since pharaohs were considered living gods on earth, by aligning herself with Amun, she reinforced her right to rule. In temple reliefs, she depicted this divine birth, with Amun presenting her as his legitimate heir. These narratives weren't just mythology. They were powerful political tools to ensure her position remained uncontested. Hatshepsut even adopted a new throne name, Matkare, which translates approximately to "truth is the soul of the sun god." The term Mat was absolutely central to Egyptian beliefs. It represented order, justice and divine balance. Pharaohs were required to uphold Maat to ensure Egypt's stability. By calling herself Maat-Kare, Hatshepsut powerfully reinforced her legitimacy and divine right to the throne. Now, here's where the story becomes truly magnificent. Hatshepsut's reign was absolutely extraordinary. She guided Egypt through an era of peace and unprecedented prosperity, initiating massive construction projects and restoring temples throughout the kingdom. Her most famous achievement was the construction of her magnificent mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari. This stunning architectural masterpiece was carved directly into the cliffs of Luxor. Even today, over 3,000 years later, it stands as a testament to ancient Egyptian engineering genius. But it doesn't stop there, time detectives. Hatshepsut launched one of the most ambitious building programs in ancient Egyptian history. She commissioned monuments, temples, and obelisks to immortalize her reign. It's believed she continued construction of the Avenue of Sphinxes, a grand processional route lined with statues leading to Karnak Temple. For many archaeologists, her most stunning architectural achievement were the towering obelisks she had carved from single blocks of granite. One of these massive monuments, weighing over 320 tons, still stands today. Just imagine the engineering expertise required to quarry, transport, and erect such a colossal structure. Beyond building, Hatshepsut expanded Egypt's influence through trade and exploration. She dispatched a famous expedition to the mysterious Land of Punt, believed to be modern-day Somalia or Eritrea. Her fleet sailed across the Red Sea, returning with incredible wealth: gold, ivory, exotic animals, incense, and precious myrrh trees. This wasn't just a trading mission, fellow explorers. This was the first documented commercial maritime expedition of its kind. The reliefs carved on her temple walls show detailed scenes of this journey, depicting the ships, the exotic goods, and even the architecture of Punt. These economic ties would benefit Egypt for generations to come. Yet, despite all her success and achievements, something deeply disturbing happened after Hatshepsut died. Her successor, none other than her stepson Thutmose III, who had been overshadowed by her reign, made a drastic, vengeful decision. He ordered that her name be systematically erased from history. Her statues were defaced and destroyed. Her inscriptions were chiseled away. Her achievements were attributed to other rulers. It was as if she had never existed. But here's the puzzling question that archaeologists still debate today. Why? Some believe Thutmose III wanted to reclaim his rightful place as pharaoh and erase the woman who had overshadowed him. Others suggest that later rulers, uncomfortable with the idea of a female pharaoh, sought to restore traditional male dominance and eliminate this dangerous precedent. This story becomes even more dramatic: ancient seekers. The power struggle between stepmother and stepson continued even after death. Thutmose III constructed his own temple right next to Hatshepsut's in the Valley of the Kings. But here's the absolutely incredible part. He built his monument deliberately 3 meters higher than hers. This wasn't an accident or coincidence. This was a powerful symbolic statement. He wanted to literally overshadow her legacy, to tower above her achievements, to prove his supremacy even in death. But history, as we're about to discover, had completely different plans. Hatshepsut's legacy began to be rediscovered in the 19th century. But it was only through painstaking archaeological investigation that her reign was properly recognized and understood. Over 1,000 stone blocks from her destroyed temple were uncovered, pieced together like an ancient puzzle. Today, Hatshepsut is remembered and celebrated as one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. Her reign, once violently erased, has been reconstructed through continuous archaeological discoveries. This proves something profound. Her power and influence couldn't be forgotten so easily, no matter how hard anyone tried. Even her final resting place had been hidden in plain sight. Her mummy was removed from its original chamber in an attempt to erase her from history. But in 2007, scientists identified her remains using DNA analysis and a single tooth. This final piece of evidence consolidated her legacy, proving that even the most determined attempts to erase a pharaoh from history cannot truly succeed. The Grand Temple of Hatshepsut, Djeser, meaning Holy of Holies, was an extraordinary architectural feat conceived to immortalize her reign and cement her divine connection with Amun. Its terraced colonnades rising from the desert floor represent one of ancient Egypt's most innovative designs. But after her death, her successor, Thutmose III, initiated a calculated attempt to cancel her legacy. Parts of her temple were systematically dismantled. Historians still vigorously debate why. Was it a dynastic power move? An attempt to restore traditional male dominance? An effort to strengthen Thutmose III's own claim to the throne? Or perhaps he was simply a vindictive stepson seeking revenge? Whatever the reason, the destruction wasn't immediate. It occurred decades after her death, suggesting it might not have been personal vengeance, but rather a broader political strategy to erase the precedent of female rule. However, despite these efforts, her temple still stands